This is my Lear Siegler ADM3A serial terminal. It's from the early days of CRT terminals, made mostly of TTL chips. No microprocessor, just a few big chips for the keyboard and serial, and a bunch of counter chains and memory chips for the display, and it has that sweet 70s styling. I found it at a thrift store back in '99 or so, but didn't have the time to do anything with it until recently. When I found it, its screen was a mess of bubbles, which I later learned are called cataracts, and that's a thing that sometimes happens to old CRTs. I got as far as turning it on and seeing a block cursor, which meant that at least the video part was working. Then I put it in storage. Back in 2020, I brought it out of storage to determine its actual condition. I was able to get it to echo characters typed in the keyboard, and then I got the serial port working. At this point, the only things wrong with it were the cataracts, the missing lowercase character generator ROM, and some sticky keyboard keys. None of the keycaps were missing, but some of the plungers had cracked, and I replaced them from donor switches. I wired up a daughter board for a 2764 lowercase EEPROM, and after fixing some mistakes, got that working. Then I worked on the cataracts. Those are caused when the rubbery stuff that attaches the front safety glass to the CRT glass goes bad. I was a bit scared of the usual use a heat gun on the glass until it slides off procedure, but I put it in a plastic bucket and went outside on a warm sunny day. It turned out I didn't need a heat gun after all. After trying to use it a bit, one of the configuration dip switches stopped working. That's when I noticed that the user manual actually says that you aren't supposed to use a pencil on the dip switches. What? But I don't think it was debris. I think we actually broke inside. So now I need to replace the dip switch. I never liked those recessed rocker switches anyhow. I ordered some replacement switches, and now I'm finally replacing them. And here are the switches. The one in the middle is the bad one, but I'm replacing both of them. These two screws are holding the board in place. And here are the new switches. Now to remove the board. Removing the screws. And it's loose. There are 4 connectors to remove next. And done. Here you can see the back of the dip switches. First, I'm going to lift up the bent pins a bit to prep for desoldering.
Bent ones up, just enough that I get them when they're hot. Just a little bit. That's all. Alright, so wait on my
Now I'm adding some flux.
solder easier. Okay. So yeah,
I'm using the desoldering iron to straighten the bent pins.
first ones to go straight. That looks good. Come on. That looks good too.
I'm adding solder to some of the pins so it'll melt better.
Okay, I'll do that half.
Desoldering the first pins. They desoldered perfectly.
Perfect.
Wiggling the pins lets me confirm that the solder is melted.
I know it's loose when the pin wobbles. I can easily wobble the pin around.
Desoldering more pins.
All right.
Cracking the last of the solder holding the pins in place.
Alright, so I just crack them off what's left. That would need to be redone. I think this first one might still have some left.
That pin needed more suction.
That should just pop right out.
It pushed right out.
There you go. Right down the hole.
Second one pushes right out too.
And that's the one that got missed by the pencils. Alright. I think I've turned... Cleaning the flux with some isopropyl alcohol.
More cleaning, getting switches, flipping board.
And I'm going to test for fit first. The on goes on this side. It's a little bit musty this side here.
There's a little bit of flux on the top side too.
it's going to go in like this. Trying to see if I have enough room for sockets there. The extra 3 millimeters so have room to fit. Okay, why are you being to me?
Aha, one pin was a little bit bent.
One pin was out of alignment. And there.
That's better.
Well, actually,
The switches are just a little bit below the metal plate. The original switches were slightly proud of it.
flush that has a right to be.
I'm slightly bending pins to hold the switches in place.
I'll just do on each side.
Soldering down a couple of pins to tack the switches down. Now the other switch. Now soldering the rest of the pins. And bending the bent pins back. Now to put the board back. It's trickier than it seems. And that's it. The switches actually look a bit better than the originals because they're lower profile. I'm going to replace the other one too.